Hey everyone, welcome to The Current, our Facebook Live news show here at USC Annenberg Media. I'm Sebastian Vega, your host for today, and of course, as you know, this is a show made by young adults for young adults, so we're focusing on the issues that you care about. And of course, the red carpet is already rolled out. This weekend we have a big show, so we have to talk about it. We're talking about, if you didn't see behind me, the Oscars, and more specifically, we're talking about diversity within the Oscars. So last year, if you might remember, hashtag #OscarsSoWhite blew up on the Twitter sphere. We had actors, actresses, directors, and even just celebrities of all kind speaking their mind about the fact that there were actually no actors or actresses of color nominated for any major category at the Oscars. And so if you don't know, the Academy, essentially a team of individuals, media professionals, are put together, and they kind of nominate these professionals, these actors, actresses, and directors for these awards when the Oscars rolls around. So like I said, there were, a lot of individuals on the Twitter sphere talking about kind of this backlash against the fact that there were no people of color represented in the Oscars. So actually the president of the Academy, Shoabun Isaacs, made a statement that you're going to check out in a second about the fact that people were giving backlash towards the Academy because of the lack of diversity. So check it out.
It's not enough to just listen and agree. We must take action. While change is often difficult, it is necessary.
So we wanted to make this really fun for you guys. So we actually have some guests here, and we're going to play a little game, a little interactive quiz. And remember, the beauty of Facebook Live is you can comment right below. And also, if you're liking what you're seeing, you might want to share this because we want to get people engaged. We're going to bring in our very own Eli Goodstein, an executive producer in the Media Center, and he's going to be talking a little bit about the makeup of the Academy and how it's changed over the years. These might not be the 2016 numbers or the 2015 numbers, but these are the newest numbers, the most recent numbers that we could find online. So Eli, tell us a little bit about what we're doing, and let's get into this quiz. I'm ready to play a game.
Thanks for having me again, Sebastian.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to join you today. What we're talking about today is the makeup of the Academy itself. So last year, June 2016, they invited 683 new members to the Academy, which is an unprecedented number. So what we're going to talk about today is sort of the makeup of the Academy between 2012 and 2016. And we have these pie charts here that we're going to test. We're going to test the knowledge of students here who, some of them are from SCA, some of them are just USC students. We're going to test their knowledge of the makeup of the Academy in 2012 and in 2016, and we're going to discuss the demographics when it comes to white versus non-white members, and also when it comes to male and female members. So first up, for our first pie chart we have here, we're going to have Logan, one of our guests, come in.
Hello there.
So we have right here, we have the white, non-white graph right here, and what I want you to guess, we have three different percentages for you to guess right here. So we have 6%, 16%, and 36%. So I want you to guess sort of which percentage you think made up the non-white demographic in 2012.
Of the Academy's voting body?
The Academy's voting academy at the time.
All right. I'm going to go with 16%.
All right, so you voted for 16% right here. So I'm going to let you know you're actually incorrect. I'm sorry. The makeup is actually, it was 6%. In 2012, 94% of the Academy was actually white. So only 6% was really made up of the non-white demographic. So it's really just this percentage right here. If you can see it on Facebook Live right now, it's just this small percentage of the pie chart right there. So, all right, so thank you. Sorry you didn't get it right, it's all good, but thank you for joining us, we really appreciate it. So next up, we have our friend Nate here, and Nate, you're in the SCA school, right?
Yeah, I'm a freshman in film production.
Cool. Awesome. So the next chart we have up here is the male-female graph, and it sort of goes over, okay, what was the percentage of male versus female in 2012? So which percentage? We have 23%, we have 30%, and we have 35%.
I'd like to use my lifeline. No, I'm just kidding. I would have to guess 23%.
You are correct, sir. Ding, ding, ding. So 77% of the demographic of the Academy in 2012 was actually male. So 23% was female. So it makes up this little chunk right there. So good job. Congrats. You got it right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. So now we're going to move to 2016. In 2016, these numbers just came out this past year, and after all the new members were invited to the academy. So right now we have Austin here, and Austin, you are what major are you?
I'm a history major. I'm a sophomore, yeah.
Sophomore. So thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So we want you to sort of go over the white versus non-white graph that we have at the bottom right here. The percentages that we have are 35%, 41%, and 45%. So which do you think is the right percentage for the non-white population in the academy now?
Well, I'm a bit of a pessimist. I think I'm going to go with 35% just to be on the safe side.
You are incorrect. I'm so sorry. It's actually 41% now.
That's a good surprise, honestly.
Yes. So it's an exponential growth. It started at 6%, and now it's grown to 41%, which it's almost halfway there. So it's actually it's definitely a jump for the academy itself. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Sorry you got it wrong, but thank you for joining us. I'm going to draw that in there really quick so you can see. So yeah, as you can see, it's jumped exponentially between 2012 and 2016. So finally, we're going to have Sebastian come back in. He's going to guess the last one. I'm going to move over here, and he's going to come back in really quick. So the last one is the 2016 numbers for the male versus female population in the academy itself.
Okay.
So Sebastian, we have 25%, 35%, and 46%.
46%.
So which do you think is the correct number?
Okay, so before we were at
23% for the female population.
23% for females.
Yes.
I'm going to say hopefully we've improved. Hopefully we've grown a little bit. I'm going to be really ambitious here, and I'm going to go for 46%.
You are correct.
Nice.
It has grown to 46%. It is almost halfway there.
Wow.
Again, it's just an exponential growth.
That's
You're going from
huge.
It's doubling in growth, actually. 23% to 46. It increased by another 23%, which is a huge thing for the academy this year. And I think that's going to be, I think Cheryl Boone-Isaacs definitely, laid a lot of groundwork for more diversity to come to add to the academy, and those new 683 members are definitely a great asset to making the academy more diverse this year.
Yeah, definitely. And so just really quick, if you just want to talk about these guys, what do we have over here? I think these are just kind of like just the actors and actresses that are nominated, but if you could just talk about what we're looking at.
Yeah, so I laid out the different nominees this year for the Oscars. Right now we have the Best Actor and Best Actress nominees up here, and in a second I'll show you the supporting actors and supporting actresses. So for the Best Actor, we have Denzel Washington, we have Andrew Garfield right here, Ryan Gosling, Casey Affleck, and Viggo Mortensen. So as you can see, it's 4/5 white. We only really have Denzel Washington as our one person who's non-white in the Best Actor category.
Right. But it's a step up from last year, which was
it is a
zero.
Step up, which I'll get to in a second.
Okay.
Once we get to the supporting actors, and I'll go over the numbers a little bit more. For Best Actress, we have Natalie Portman, we have Isabel Hubert, we have Emma Stone, and we have Meryl Streep and Ruth Negga. So same sort of thing with the Best Actress category. We only have Ruth Negga, who's our one non-white member of the Best Actress category.
Right.
But if we flip these over, if you take those numbers, we have two people in the Best Actor and Actress category. So if you flip them over,
oh yeah, we have
flip it over.
Oh yeah, we have other people on the other side. Oh, okay.
Sorry, everyone back home. It's going to take us a second. So as you can see, in the Best Actress category.
Okay, it's already changing up a bit here.
So you can see.
Well, let's just look at the actress first. Let's look at Best Actress.
Look at the Best Supporting Actress here. So if you can hold that up really quick.
Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
So what we're looking at here for the Best Actress. Oh wait, okay. So as you can see back home, we have 3 non-white actresses in the Best Supporting Actress category, and that's unprecedented. That's actually the first time that's happened. Is having 3 black actors in the Supporting Actress category. So it's a really big deal for this category in particular, and it's a really big deal.
And before we move forward, just for our audience at home, I know you're like an entertainment guru. Can you just, if you do know, can you just tell me which movies that these actresses were in?
So just specifically the actresses.
Just so I know what I'm looking at.
So we have Michelle Williams, who was with Casey Affleck in Manchester by the Sea. She was a supporting actress in that role. And we have Viola Davis, who was in Fences with Denzel Washington. She's in the Best Supporting Actress category. We have Naomi Harris, who was in Moonlight with I'm trying to pronounce his name correctly, Mahershala Ali.
Great film.
And
Yeah.
we have Octavia Spencer, who is, she was in the movie The Help in 2011.
Right.
Now she's nominated for Hidden Figures this year for Best Supporting Actress.
Awesome.
And we also have Nicole Kidman, who, off the top of my head, I think it's Nocturnal Animals. I'm not quite sure.
Anybody out here?
Lion. I definitely got that wrong. I'm so sorry.
Even the guru sometimes forgets.
I forgot. But yeah, so Nicole Kidman, she's nominated for Lion with Dev Patel, who is in the Best Actor category, which we should go to next.
Nice. So let's
Flip these over. We can see who we have. So we got Michael Shannon, who's nominated. He's nominated for Nocturnal Animals. And we also have behind Casey Affleck.
Goodbye.
His Best Supporting Actor compadre.
Goodbye, Andrew
We have-
Garfield. No more Garfield there.
I can't remember his name. Lucas Hedges. Thank you, Logan. We have Lucas Hedges, he worked with Casey Affleck on Manchester by the Sea. And so these are our Best Supporting Actors. We have Jeff Bridges, Dev Patel, Mahershala Ali, Lucas Hedges, and Michael Shannon. So if you count up the amount of people that were nominated in all four of these categories that are
Right.
white, there's 7 people in total. The last time that happened was 2007. So it's been 10 years since we've had that number of people who are black actors or non-white actors in these categories.
That is crazy.
Yes.
But we're talking about progress.
Yes.
So we're talking about moving forward, and potentially they could have received this backlash and maybe made a change off of that. I mean, I think that's what we're seeing here a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think it's
How many new Academy members did you say?
683, which
600.
is again, an unprecedented number, and I think that it's definitely. Cheryl Boone Isaacs definitely did something to make people more aware of the fact that there were issues. There were issues, with the way the Academy was voting, and it's really, I think this year in particular was a step up for them, especially with the variety of people that they voted on.
Right.
But it's just another really crazy thing about this year is that it's the first time that every acting category
Yeah.
had someone who was a black actor in that category.
Right.
It's the first time that that's ever happened, and it's also the same thing with the supporting actress category.
Wow.
The first time we've had 3.
I mean, just taking a look, you can see how different and more diverse it is as
Yeah.
opposed to last year.
It's crazy how diverse
Yeah.
it is this year. Yeah.
And then you said 600 new more Academy members. I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, or maybe any of our guests. How many Academy members are there exactly? Just so our audience knows.
Honestly, I'm not quite sure of the exact number, but I think it's at least 6,000 members. Which
Okay.
Is, again, a crazy amount. And
Right.
I think 683, doesn't sound like much to the 6,000.
But I mean,
Even then, like the fact that these are the new numbers, we have
That's great,
41%
yeah.
white, non-white, and we have 46% male, female. I think that goes to show that those new members that were added definitely made it more diverse this year.
right. Well, thank you so much, Eli, for coming out and telling us a little bit about this. And again, we're all about trying to get you guys interacting with us. So if you want to share this or comment below what you want to talk about next week, that's totally cool. We still have a little more to talk about, though. We're going to bring our guests back on in just 1 second after we talk about some of the statistics and some of the diversity and demographics we have in our film school, which we haven't talked about yet, but we're about to. But Eli, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sounds good. And we didn't mention this, but if you can't tell, we're actually not in front of Annenberg right now. We're stepping out of our comfort zone a little bit. This is actually the School of Cinematic Arts. Hopefully you can see it behind me, really great architecture. But we're here so we can talk to students essentially like right where they work, right in their home turf. And, a lot of people say, well, there's the big industry, we're talking about the Oscars and these actors and actresses nominated, but we also have a little mini industry here right in Los Angeles, and we're talking about our School of Cinematic Arts. So right now I'm going to look at some of the statistics, some of the demographics, really the makeup of the graduates and undergraduate students here at SCA, and then after that we're going to talk to some of my fellow peers, some of my colleagues, and we're going to see what they have to say about, just this ongoing issue of diversity in the industry. So like I said, we're going to talk about the statistics. I actually have them right here on this paper, but don't be deterred. You're going to have a graphic that's going to pull up in just 1 second. I just want to make sure I'm getting these numbers right. Cool. So these are the most recent numbers that we could find from SCA. These are actually from 2013. I know that sounds kind of old. It's the beginning of 2017, but these are the most recent numbers. And we did reach out to get more numbers, and I'll have that comment for you in a second, but these are all from an SCA brochure. So at the time, of course, these were the newest numbers and the most accurate. So we're looking at undergrads first, and let's take a look at male to female, just like we looked at that over here with the Academy. We have 57% male, and 43% female. And again, the graphic should be pulled up, but if I'm reading these and you're reading them, I'm sorry about that, but we're going to talk a little bit more about this. The undergrads were majority white, and get this, 60%. So 60% of this cinematic art school was comprised of white undergrads, but then take a look at this. 12% were Hispanic, 11% were Asian Pacific Islander, and then just 4% were black. 4% of the students here at SEA were black undergrad students. So that's undergrad. Of course, everyone knows this is a research institution. We actually have more graduate students than undergrads here. So we're going to take a look at the graduate program. We're going to see how that shapes up. We have 57% male and 41% female. So, you know, just in comparison to the 57% male, it's almost about the same percentages. It's roughly still in the same ballpark. But we have less amount of white students that are graduate students here. 47% of the grad students were white in 2013, at least that's what the brochure said. And then 20% were non-white citizens without green cards. So I believe they represented that in another way on the brochure, but we asked them exactly what that term meant and that it was before, and it was non-white citizens without green cards. That's 20% of the school. Then we have, of course, 9% were Asian Pacific Islanders, 9% were Hispanic, and double the amount of black students in undergrad. There were 8% in the graduate program, so 4% to 8%, a little more, but of course, you know, even some students speak out here that's not exactly what they would like to see exactly for the racial makeup. And then, like I said, we're going to talk to those students in a second. And actually, now that we're talking about it, if you have a question for the students that just participated in this quiz and that are about to talk with us, you know, leave your comment right down below. You can just leave it down below. You can share the post. You can put it in the caption of the post, whatever you want to do. But get those questions to us so we can ask them and we can actually engage the way you want to engage. But again, we did ask for updated numbers, and the Associate Dean of the Communication Office said that, quote, "We don't share this information as a matter of practice," unquote, anymore. So they don't share that information, so unfortunately we couldn't figure out the makeup of the school, but you know, we're bringing to you the latest numbers that we have, which are from 2013, and I hope those give you a good representation of our school here in SEA. So we have our guests here that we're going to bring on. We have a couple questions for them, and like I said, you know, ask your questions below, but come on in. Yeah, come on in. Let's talk about this a little bit, and we can all come over here. We only have, let's bring you over here a little bit so we're in the sunlight here. Don't want to put you in the shade. We have two mics, and we'll just pass around this mic. I have a couple questions here on this piece of paper, but actually before we start looking at the paper and making sure we get to those questions, let's just, you know, ask something that's off the top of my head. So I know that SEA about a year ago implemented a diversity and inclusivity council. Is that correct? Does anyone work with that council, or do any of you guys kind of like know what that council does? I just want to get some more input from you guys if you know. From what we understand, they promote inclusivity and diversity, and they try to make changes in the school that they see best fit, so that, like we said, they can kind of like give this school a more diverse and inclusive feel. I think my first big question is, I don't know, has that impacted your work at all, or I mean, how you feel as a student here at SEA? Have they impacted you at all?
Well, I can't speak to the council directly,
Yeah.
But the main encouragement that they've been trying to do is to encourage conversation about these issues within the classroom.
Okay.
A number of my friends and professors have been members of the council, and they've brought their concerns to the classroom and kind of made us all more aware of what it means. The main thing they told me that I found interesting was that they're trying to move away from the term diversity
Okay.
to the term inclusion.
Okay.
Because there are some people that bristle at the term diversity.
Right.
But the term inclusion suggests what it really is all along, and that to not include the narratives of people of color,
Yeah.
women, and people in the LGBTQ community,
Right.
you are denying the reality of what modern America looks like.
Wow, yeah. Any other comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really speak to how it was before they implemented this measure, but...
Right, because you're a freshman, right?
Yeah.
Of course, okay.
Since I've been here, I've noticed I get a lot of emails about, like, screenings that they're hosting, promoting, like, directors of color and, like, films about, like, people of color. And, I mean, to the students who take advantage of them, and like, myself included, it, like, exposes us to a whole new world of cinema.
Right. Yeah.
I can't really speak to the measure either, or the council, because I'm actually not even in SCA. I'm a history student in Dornsife, so...
But how are you involved with SEA?
I'm really not involved with SCA in any tangible form. I'm just here talking to everybody, but
Yeah.
I think I think
It's great to have other representation.
That message of inclusivity really resonates with things going on in the history department right now.
Yeah.
Which I can talk about a little later. But as far as it's never let anyone tell you that representation isn't important, because when you see people that look like you moving and doing and being active and being powerful, it can be very life changing. So
right.
I think that there's good work being done, but there can be more work to be done.
Yeah, so speaking about representation and also talking about in the classroom how to be more inclusive and how to promote inclusivity, like I said, this is like a little mini industry that we have here at SCA and just at USC in general. So how does this whole conversation come into play when you're doing work? When you're casting a film, or when you're trying to get into a student film, or even like just a student broadcast? Are we thinking about these things now, that we need to have a more diverse, inclusive cast? Because in the future we're going to be in the industry. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Does this impact your studies or the way you work at all?
Well, I'm in the screenwriting major specifically, so it actually impacts us quite a bit. A lot of the conversation goes to the way that we naturally, culturally are biased, is that certain sorts of people who look a certain way fit into certain roles, and then the encouragement being to subvert that and put characters that you wouldn't necessarily expect in those roles. And I think the Oscar nominee Hidden Figures did that for a lot of people, because nobody would have thought NASA scientists in the 1960s would be black women, but they were factually, and that's a narrative that needed to be brought to light.
Yeah. Has it impacted your work at all in any other way, or just seen it anywhere else in the school?
Yeah, as a filmmaker, it's easy to fall into this cliche attitude where we write what we know. So
right.
As a white male, it's easy for me to write about white men.
Yeah.
But I gotta we're encouraged to go outside of our comfort zone and to explore untold stories and to really engage with people who have stories to tell that we can be inspired by.
Right.
I think as a historian, it's important for me when I'm looking at film and analyzing it to see that the historical narratives going on. That there is this idea that there are these roles that have been concealed from us from a really long time. For instance, I was reading this article about Game of Thrones. It was saying how unrealistic it is that there are no people of color in this world, when in reality medieval Europe was this. Race was not exactly characterized the same, but there were people of color moving through that world, and to conceal that or erase that is a disservice to everybody.
Right. Yeah. And sorry for whipping out my phone. That's just how I'm communicating with my producer. And of course, we're on Facebook Live, so a little more conversational. But I did want to make a very quick note. So we have a diverse panel here, but of course, there are no women. And so we just want to make a note that this is obviously something else that we want to talk about within the film school, is just making sure that everyone is included. We couldn't book anybody for today, but we just wanted to make that quick note that, we reached out to those individuals and we tried to make this as inclusive as possible. But okay, so we talked a little bit about diversity and inclusion here, what that means for your work. I'm just really more curious, it's crazy that at some point, you're studying and then you're going to be in this industry and you're going to be making films and productions and you're going to be making work that could potentially be nominated in the Oscars. So I don't know, what is it, and maybe we just answer this, but what is it that we have to think about once we graduate from school? How do we step out of that comfort zone? Or how do we step out of what we know?
I think the major concern with that is that we need to be concerned as much, if not more so, with diversity behind the camera rather than in front. For example, this game we played with the actors, that speaks to the overall issue, but the School of Cinematic Arts does not train actors. We have a different school on campus for that. And this is 100% people who will be behind the camera, writing the script, editing, shooting. And
I didn't think about behind the camera, so tell me a little bit about that. How do you think about that?
I think it's vital to accurately reflect the sort of narratives that occur in these non-white, non-straight, not cis, not male communities. You need the people who have the experiences to speak to them. For example, last year, when there were no non-white actors nominated.
Yeah.
The movie Straight Outta Compton got a
Yes.
nomination, and every single writer on that, or it got a nomination for screenplay, and every writer on it was white.
Okay,
And
interesting.
It's very irregular that the one bone that they'll throw to this movie is to the group of white people
Yeah.
involved with it. It's a disservice.
And
to it.
that also, how do you tell a story about a community that maybe you're not as involved in as someone else who's grown up in it? I guess that's like another question to ask too. It's like
It's about
you
keeping an open dialogue with
Right.
the people who have lived this experience.
Yeah.
And then not even speaking on a writing level, this year did have some big step-throughs, like Bradford Young, the cinematographer for Arrival, was the first African-American in that category. Joy McMillan for film editing for Moonlight was the first black woman to be nominated for it. And Mika Levi, who did the score for Jackie, was the first woman to be nominated in the category for something like 20 years. And it goes, I guess, to what you're saying, what I was saying earlier, in that we hold up certain ideas of what a person should be doing a role on a film set.
Right.
But for cinematographer, editor, composer, our model is usually a straight white male, and that's not accurate.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be changed.
Yeah, so if we think that it's straight white male, and I know like you're just a freshman now, but like in the future going forward, like how do you, again, maybe it is the same question, but how do you break out of that comfort zone? Like, I don't know, how do you get yourself to think in that different way? Or is the school helping you think in a different way? Or
I think the school definitely, in my film classes, they challenge the stories that we give them. They're like, go outside your comfort zone, like talk to people, like learn about certain environments, certain socioeconomic classes. They really want you to investigate. A lot of film is research, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we're living in kind of a special time where technology has become so accessible that filmmaking is in turn more accessible.
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
So if you look at films like Tangerine that came out recently that follows transgender prostitutes living in South Central Los Angeles, you know, filmed on an iPhone, like that just epitomizes like where we should be heading with film, and I think where we are and where a lot of the students here are trying to go.
Yeah, and I guess this is a little bit of a different conversation with history, but I don't know, even then moving forward, maybe is there a conversation about how to accurately represent like history and maybe what we're going through now with this like non-inclusive environment as opposed to maybe what we're going to have in the future?
Yeah, I think it may not even be about the representation of history being accurate, but more about allowing for like multi-vocality in film and in places, and I really do strongly believe that begins in the classroom. This is the project that I'm actually working on right now at USC. Does not have any African studies classes. It has a few, one in the international relations school. And so I think there's this narrative in the United States that Black history only begins at captivity, which is really a disingenuous way that only measures the past 300 or 400 years of Black history. And so it's about looking beyond the narratives of oppression. It's about looking beyond the narratives of struggle and finding other narratives that are present and that I just think that we neglect. It's hard for me as a Black American to relate to Africa because for so long I was not taught that it's a part of me in that way that is culturally relative, and so now it's a process. And so I have a petition that you can go look at online for more inclusive curriculum, specifically Africana studies and diaspora studies. So that's my little plug. Sorry.
It's okay. At least we're on the conversation of inclusivity. We actually have a question. I just got a question here from my producer, and the question is from John Goldsmith. And his question is for you three. You can answer this or you don't have to, but I would want at least one response. Who are your picks, actually, for Best Actor and Actress? I know this isn't really on the topic of like diversity, but I think we're kind of talking about the bill that we have here that we're looking at. Do we have any picks? Do we have any ideas of who might win this weekend?
I mean, okay, here's the thing. I guess the whole world can know now. I'm not a big fan of La La Land.
Okay. Oh, no. You don't like La La Land?
I don't
No,
like
I'm
La
kidding.
La Land,
If anyone watched SNL, that skit was really funny. But, yeah, right.
But, you know, I think I'm a fan of Denzel Washington, always been a fan. Fences was an amazing play, and I also think although he was nominated for Best Actor, he also directed it on Broadway, and he also, I think I commend him. He has my vote.
Actress? Any picks?
Not Emma Stone. Sorry, Emma Stone.
Sorry, Emma Stone.
Love you, but not this time. I don't know. That's a toughie. I honestly, I haven't seen all of the Oscar films, so I feel like I can't make a fully rounded guess.
But we got our Best Actor in, so we know who we're rooting for.
Yeah. What do you guys?
Anyone else have any ideas?
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman.
Annette Bening and Amy Adams were both robbed in the nominations. But
Okay.
Only 5 spots.
Okay.
As much as I love Manchester by the Sea, I'm going to go on record as not Casey Affleck.
Okay.
Casey Affleck sexually harassed employees of him on previous films for several years and settled out of court, and that's not been drawn to attention, which is kind of ridiculous, especially after the Birth of the Nation controversy, in which director Nate Parker was found to have committed rape in 2002, and as a black man, he was immediately removed from the awards circuit. And the idea that we would remove him for doing something like this, but not consistently then remove Casey Affleck from the consideration, is abhorrent, I think.
Right. And of course, we don't have really any information on that in those cases, but we can link some information below with an article or something like that, so you can see for your own eyes what's going on. But I guess just to really, unless you have an actor or actress that you want to nominate.
Nothing in particular. I just want Moonlight to sweep through the entire award ceremony.
Yeah. Okay. So as we're wrapping up, just one last question. Is there anything that you want to say that you didn't get to touch on today on inclusivity, diversity, the uptick in the diversity in just the academy, or just, here at SCA? Anything you want to add that we haven't talked about? And you don't have to say something, but if you have something you want to get off your mind. Okay.
I just want to mention that I think we're headed in the right direction. I know Time magazine came out with an article that marked the diversity that we reached this year with the Oscars. And I think although the Oscars usually are a predominantly white award show, we got to look forward instead of back. And
right.
Barry Jenkins has broken a lot of records this year, and I think this was the first year that a black actor was nominated in every acting category. That's just if my mind is serving me well, but I think let's keep going, let's keep doing it, let's keep diversifying.
Any other final remarks?
Yeah, I would say I think that the Oscars are a good metric for seeing where we're at in diversity, but they also represent a high level of production. A lot of money went into these films a lot of the time, and there are other ways that we could look for black excellence in the arts, for queer excellence in the arts, for women's excellence in the arts, without necessarily looking for the highest production, the flashiest affair of the year. So I think it's also about diversifying where we find those inspirations and what we value. So.
And then I just want to make a quick note that today we kind of focus on black and white and male and female, but of course there's a lot of other individuals that need to be in this conversation. LGBTQ individuals who are professionals, transgender individuals. The list goes on and on about who we need to really bring in the conversation, but I think from here what we talked about, we're off to a good start. And did you have any other final remarks? It's okay if you don't. You've already talked a lot.
Carol was robbed.
Carol was robbed. All right. So thank you guys so much for coming out today and playing this game and talking to us. Again, if you want to follow us, we're going to be up every single Thursday around noon. This is The Current, again, the Facebook Live news show from USC Annenberg Media, made by young adults for young adults. If you want any more USC news and updates, follow us on your favorite social platform. We're on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, at Annenberg Media. So we hope to see you there. Engage with us a little more, comment down below, share our posts, and we'll get you in the conversation and we'll get you talking. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.